If you think your car is pretty now,
Why can't I do it?
I'm sure you'll figure it out. Explore the things you'll discover. The potentially dangerous things.
Hello and welcome to The Geek Show. My name is Rob, and before we get any further, please do click that subscribe button and that bell notification to keep up to date with all things that The Geek Show are doing. Us little guys need it just as much as all those big channels whose butt bells you've smashed. Aha, puns. Aha, puns. Anyway, this is Sonic Team Racing from Sumo Digital. It's a kart racer. It's one of the staples of 1990s gaming. You have your colourful mascot platformers, and when they became popular enough, they got the kart racer. Of course, there's exceptions to that, but you know, there's stuff like Mario Kart, which has been a perpetual presence on the gaming world, and also with the reissue of Crash Bandicoot Trilogy a few years ago on PlayStation 4. It's either out or upcoming, the Crash Team Racing reissue as well. I think that's a good jumping off point, because when you're talking about Crash Bandicoot in particular, there's a demand for a kart racer there now anyway, because it's trading on nostalgia and people want to revisit levels which they were beloved as a child and playing them again with the graphics and the capabilities of a PlayStation 4. Here, I don't think Sonic is allowed to be nostalgic, because nostalgia, you have to be nostalgic, you have to have had a break from something, and Sonic's just been sort of ubiquitous. It's been here forever, a stain on the gaming landscape, if you will, and that's fine. People love Sonic, I'm not going to dispute that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that kids, I don't think, it's not got the sort of brand identity that it used to have, Sonic. It's the people who are the hardcore fans who buy everything that are keeping the brand alive. It's just another familiar face to the type of gamer that this would usually be for, which, going back to the sort of the classic terms of what a kart racer was, in the modern terms anyway, it's the sort of game where a parent will buy it, they'll plonk the young'un in front of it, and it'll keep them quiet, it'll keep them entertained for a few hours. Unless you're one of those monsters who just buys any old violent rubbish and sits your kids in front of it. If you're one of those people who buys Assassin's Creed or Grand Theft Auto for your kid, for shame, for shame. Anyway, Crash Team Racing, it's a perfectly acceptable entry into the kart racing lore. It has some riffs on what the game type can be, what a kart racer can be, and it has to, frankly. The name suggests what some of its specialities and what some of its unique things are. The first part is it's team, so it's not one against one against one against one. It's teams of 3. And each person in the team will get a number of points where they finish in a race. The higher you finish in the race, the more points you get, and all your team's points are clubbed together, and you go against however many points the other team get. And you can finish last yet still win the race, so it makes it a bit more accessible, which I think is nice. Otherwise, it's got all the sort of staples of a kart racer. It's got the power-ups. It's got the races. It's got the interesting level design, actually. This is one that's playing now. This is a sort of mini-game that I'm doing horribly badly on it, because to get high points you've got to drift. Terrible at drifting. But it does interesting things. It's got unique things going on about it, even if it's probably the most tired game type there is. You know, you could say first person shooters, you could say battle royale games, you could say whatever, but those come and go. Kart races have been eternal. I think that the fundamental problem is, like I was talking about, I don't really know who it's for, because nostalgia has basically softened Sonic a bit. I mean, the last one I played was Sonic Adventure 2, and if I was coming to it from that long away and there was not much Sonic coming out, like maybe one every a few years, I'd be interested in this. But because there's always new Sonic games coming out, it's very hard to care. It's just this year's riff on what Sonic can be, and it's hard to stay interested. So again, it's just a game which it'll do well. It will do well because the fans do throw money in this, and it is the sort of game which parents will buy to keep their children quiet. But the game itself, I think, is how it plays. The cars. Let's ignore the fact that Sonic's fast enough not to need a car, but well, I diverge from that. The gameplay, it's kind of muddy feeling. The cars will go where you want them to, but as far as going around the corners, it doesn't feel as liberating. Maybe not liberating is the right word. It doesn't feel as loose and as free as other kart games will, because that's the whole point of kart games. It's supposed to be really arcadey, really knockabout. Whereas this one, it feels like the car is a bit too muddy, a bit too stuck. It doesn't really have the flexibility to do what you'd like it to. So it's a little bit more difficult than it should be. Not because it's a hard game, because it's not. It's because the controls are pretty stiff, frankly. But it's got an audience, and that's fine. Another few things before I wrap up. It has like team powers as well. You get individual power, which the usual stuff you get in this sort of game, sort of speed ups, throwing things, bombs, that sort of doodah. You also get the team one, which is Ultimate, I believe it's called, which you get triangle at the top of your screen. Your kart racer will go absolutely nuts. Fire coming out. I mean, it has been on this gameplay footage so far, but fire will come out of the car. Knuckles, in my case, because I don't like Sonic, especially after that trailer for the movie. Oh boy! But Knuckles will jump out of the car and he'll go really, really fast, and you'll win usually, in my experience. But again, I've got to reiterate the fact that all the gameplay here is single player, and the whole idea of playing a kart racer on single player is kind of redundant. It's got all of these aspects of the game which are tailored towards online and multiplayer, and I can't comment on that because I've not played any of that. I'm commenting on the game as a whole and the package as a whole, how it plays, and how it plays is perfunctory. It does the job, and I feel that's kind of been the stick by which Sonic has both lived and died. It's been that way for a while. I mean, the best it's been. There's been exceptions to the rule, but by and large, Sonic has been lat'll do games for a very long time, if not lat'll do, just outright terrible. And this, I won't call it terrible. I mean, yeah, like I said, lat'll do. And this is Sonic Team Racing, and I played it on PlayStation 4. And given it's a Sonic game, it will be available wherever you play your games. But for now, I have been Rob. I will be back later to talk about more games, as well as launching upcoming video series. But for now, that'll do. We've been The Geek Show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.